Hey y'all, it's Gypsy Chick and my girl,
Bellaluna.
and we're going to be talking about, I don't like to number this card because it actually has a couple of numbers. For the purposes of this series, it's the ninth card that we're going to be looking at, and in the Rider-Waite-Smith system it is referred to as the 8th card. Here is the Rider-Waite card. It has an 8 at the top. The reason why I'm stuttering and so unsure about calling this the 8th card is because he switched this one with the Justice card. This is something that he did. The cards, or the decks that came before it, were numbered 11, and Justice was actually number 8. So Rachel Pollack talks about it in her book, which I bring into this series every time, 78 Degrees of Wisdom. She discusses the fact that Arthur Waite did switch it, but she also makes the point that he didn't really go into detail as to why he switched it. I didn't pull up the quote, but she actually does say, I mean, he didn't give a reason. There is a lot of speculation and debate as to why it was changed, why it works being changed. I personally prefer the 11 position. If you are studying the Fool's Journey, Justice is about discernment between right and wrong, what is fair and unfair, just and unjust. And in my opinion, it seems like if you're going to learn to quote-unquote conquer your inner demon, to master the beast within, you need to know the difference between right and wrong. You need to have an understanding of that. Otherwise, how do you know when to rein it in and when to let it loose? When do you know when it's justified to let your beast out and when not to? So I personally like to see it in the 11th position, but since Rider-Waite-Smith deck has it as the number 8, we're going to just go ahead and cover it now. Another thing that is different, and do you remember what that is that's different between these cards? It's kind of like the Chariot situation that we saw in these cards.
That sometimes there's a girl and a boy.
That's right, that's right. Sometimes we see a man, and sometimes we see a woman. Now, when I did the Chariot, I smiled and giggled a lot because I loved the fact that there were so many female charioteers. However, after making that vlog and really kind of thinking about it in depth and what I talked about, and reading about this card and learning about it more in depth and kind of spending more time with the Strength card, I realized that, there was one aspect of the Chariot card that was kind of something I never really considered until I did the video, which was the rigidity. That Emperor aspect of the Chariot card. And what does the Emperor kind of represent?
Like power?
What's that TV show that you and your dad like to watch?
I don't know. Law and Order?
Haha! Yes.
Yeah.
Law and Order.
Yeah.
When I see an Emperor card, I think
Law and Order.
dun dun! Yeah. And the Chariot card, whenever you are taking control of a situation, that is usually done through law and order, aka logic, which really is more of a masculine attribute. So, as much as I like seeing female charioteers, it makes more sense in my head for it actually to be a man in the charioteer position. Likewise, with the Strength card, that has more to do with controlling the inner self, right? You tired?
No.
Controlling the inner demon. That is self-control. That is more of an, I guess it's more of a transcendent type of an energy. You have to be able to master yourself and your inner, your inner demons. So for that reason, I feel like there is more of a connection to more of a female type energy. Rachel discusses in her book about how this is actually tied to the Empress card. And if you look at the way that the woman is presented here, what kind of things make you think Empress? What's the main thing here that, besides the fact that she's a woman, what's the Empress key here?
The flower belt or the youth?
The flower belt, yeah. For me, it's the flower belt. The flowers on her head. Yes, she is obviously a younger woman, but that sign of life, that sign of fertility, brings me to the Empress. However, we do have an aspect that's been added to the Empress that gives her a little extra power, which is what?
That She looks like she's bigger.
No, remember?
Um,
We see the infinity sign.
Oh.
And the infinity sign reminds us of what card?
The. I can't remember. Oh, the magician.
There you go, the magician. So we see the Empress kind of mixed with the magician in this card. And that is something that, you know, in a lot of the strength cards we will see this infinity sign. I like seeing that in the cards. I like the aspect of having, you know, the Empress mixed with the magician. So the symbols that I gave credit for when we start talking about the symbolism that we see in the strength card is, first of all, that it is a number 8 because that's a weight thing. Okay, he brought that around. Before that, it was the 11. It was 11th card. So we also see the infinity sign. We see a woman as the central figure here. That woman is and looks like an empress. I gave a bonus point for that. She is kind of dominating a lion, but she's doing it in a way where she's actually taming it more than she's physically dominating it. There are some cards, in fact, before it was a domination thing, and I'll go into that when I start to talk about the older cards. But she's not. I gave a point if it's domination through a connection, a deeper connection to the animal, and not just muscling it, you know, into submission. So that's an important aspect that I see here, which, you know, brings it back to that feminine energy. You know, a male energy is going to wrestle that beast to the ground and dominate it physically, whereas the feminine is more inclined to develop an emotional attachment, emotional connection to that, you know, other self, to the other aspect of you know, the human psyche. And so we see that there. We also gave a point for this flower belt. However, I have to say there's really only one other card that did that. Arthur Waite describes this flower belt as being a second infinity sign, and Rachel Pollack talks about that in her book. This flower belt actually goes around the lion's neck. You can kind of see, let's see if you can see right here. This flower belt actually kind of goes around its neck as well. So it's binding these two creatures together. It is a physical representation of that bond. And that's about it. There weren't near as many symbols in this card as there were to discuss in the Chariot card, but I love the Strength card. Is just one of my favorites. I absolutely love this card. And it's not just because it's a female card, it's because I love what it represents. So the first one I'm going to talk about here is the Visconti Tarot. This one is what I was talking about. Now, this is 1450, so this came way before Arthur Waite's deck. And we see here, this is actually Hercules dominating or killing the Nemean lion, which is a common story. It's one of Hercules' trials that he did. And so we see him here beating with a stick. This is that domination I was talking about. You have that masculine energy. Okay, he's not going to come to an understanding with the lion and tame it. He's just going to beat the crap out of it until it stops moving.
I don't like that card.
Yeah, I don't care for this one either.
It's because the strength cards are supposed to be about your inner strength, not your muscles. It's
right.
Just, it's not right.
Right. It's for me. It's you know, for this kind of strength for me connects to youth and vitality. This card is not about youth and vitality. It is about a spiritual. It's something more spiritual than that. It's something that's on a different level. You can be, you know, you can be Methuselah and still have this type of strength. In fact, the odds of you building this strength as you grow older and as you grow wiser and as your body starts to decline is actually going to enhance. You know, this strength is something that you build over time. Not this strength. This strength. This is pretty. This is ugly. So there's the Visconti Tarot. Then we have the Minchiati Tarot. Now, I like the Minchiati Tarot. This actually came out around the same time period. So it is of the same political, social time period. But it has a woman. So I like the fact that even back in the 1450s, it has a woman. Now, this woman
is holding a big fat stick.
She's got this concrete pillar. And look at her face. She looks
like she's bored out of her mind. She's like, you guys get to tame lions and touch them and not get bitten, and I get to hold a big, lousy stick. It's so unfair.
Now, you know, don't mind the number. I don't think that the Minchiati Tarot is going to, or the Minchiati cards are going to match with the tarot for the rest of this series, so I'm not even talking about the numbers. This is number 7. They're very different. So ignore that. But yes, this is the strength card. And here we have the female, but it's still showing a type of a physical strength. It is just an annoyed strength. She look at her face. It's hilarious. Anyway, this card cracked me up. It is definitely not one of my favorite representations of strength, but it made me laugh because she just
They're so bored out of her mind.
she looks so bored. She's like, man, come on. Hercules gets a lion and I get a pillar. What the deuce? The Marseille Tarot also has a female, and I actually I can see the beginnings of the influence that may have kind of influenced Arthur Waite when he did his deck. Now, one thing that's interesting here, obviously it is a woman. Her hat looks kind of like a what?
Infinity sign.
That's right, looks like an infinity sign. We also see these leaves here on the hat, and that to me is a representation of that that nurturing energy, that
Empress?
yeah, the Empress. It's got that Empress feel to it. We've got that, the symbol of fertility here in these leaves. We have life, we have growth, we have, the greenery. So I get that. One funny thing about this card, though, is that she's kind of holding his mouth. I don't know what she's doing with its mouth. Looks like she's trying to pull its tongue out. You see that?
Prying it open.
Yeah, it's like she's holding its mouth open in a way, kind of ripping its mouth. It's holding its lips up. I don't know what she's doing to that poor animal's mouth, but that one's slightly amusing to me as well. But
it looks kind of like a dog, but it has that mane still.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a golden retriever.
Yeah.
But we're gonna let it stay a lion because it does look like it has kind of a mane going on there. But another thing that I just noticed is she doesn't have any shoes on. So I guess in a way that's kind of, another version of that kind of Empress energy. She's kind of a hippie chick, but she's got her hands in a dog's mouth, so she's a rough one. All right, so let's get to the modern cards. The highest scoring of our modern cards that we covered was the Paulina Tarot. She actually nailed it. She got all the points that was available. She's the only card that has the flower, the lei kind of that goes around both her and the lion. And it does it more obviously than in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. As in a lot of her cards, she's added some wings to the lion because she likes wings, and she does that a lot. We see the infinity sign. Where is that?
On top of her head.
On top of her head, as where it should be. We kind of see, like we see in that Marseille deck we just looked at, she's kind of holding its mouth open, or managing its mouth in some way. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's the fact that she has her hands in its mouth and it's not chewing them off, shows that she's got control of it. Not completely sure. But they're definitely connected. That flower, the flower belt that goes around both of them definitely shows that is a physical version of their connection. And it is, again, it is the number 8 there. Lots of flowers, lots of, very fertile symbolism that's floating around them. And so definitely dead on representation of the strength card. The runners-up in second place, there was a 3-way tie with 7 points. And that is the Illuminati Tarot, the Steampunk Tarot, and the Tarot of the Divine. Legacy of the Divine Tarot, I'm sorry. So Legacy of the Divine, I actually like this one a lot. You didn't care for this one.
I don't really like. I mean, she has that Empress figure still, and she's power over 3 animals. I just don't really like the card. I don't know why. I just had that feel. I just don't like it.
Yeah, we noticed if you look, she's anointing these cats. She's putting this little spark on top of them, and kind of, that is her control. She's got 3 different kinds here. What is it? A cheetah, a lion, and a tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's got all the big cats, all that feline energy. Tons of it. Tons of big cats.
Yep.
Beautiful card. 7 points for that. That one did not have the flower belt. None of these did. These cards that I'm showing you had everything but the flower belt. That's the only thing that they were missing. Here we have the Steampunk. She likes this one.
I love this one. I mean, she has the infinity sign, which most cards don't really have. But I like it, and the way she's holding the hand, and she's down at its level, she's like they're on the same page, and she's taking out of its paw. Showing she has that inner strength, but she's still on the same level as the cat. She's not up and above.
Right, exactly. Like we see in the, in the Rider-Waite-Smith, she's over the lion. She's taller than the lion. She's standing over it. Same in the Paulina Tarot. The woman is elevated above the lion. And we noticed here in this one, she's on the same level with the lion. She's knelt down and she's actually helping the lion. She's pulled a piece of a clockwork cog out of its paw, and she's helping to heal it. So I like the healing aspect of this card. That, you know, by connecting with your beast, you know, it brings about a sense of healing. So that's another interesting part of this card that we don't see in a lot of the other strength cards. Then we have, of course, the Illuminati Tarot.
I like this one too.
Yeah, this one's a really pretty one. You know, but again, like in the other cards, even though it's not quite as obvious, she is still over the lion. You know, she's not towering over it like in the Rider-Waite-Smith, but she's definitely over it.
She's still very empressy. She has that empress figure.
Yes, she's very empressy.
And her magic, like in this one, she has that power. You know, she has that power over it.
Right, she's getting that little anointed power on their heads. Yeah. Here she's throwing it up.
Sign.
Right, you see, it's hard to tell, but her arm is kind of shooting out in the back here. You see her little hand, and she's throwing the infinity sign back behind them. So she has the power of the magician. But
and in a lot of cards, the Empress and the Lion take up a lot of space, but it's like mostly the nature-y feel that's
we see here the Illuminati Tarot. It's not that different from the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's very, you know, it is kind of a pimped out Rider-Waite-Smith deck. But the background is much more significant here. The mountains rise above them. The field is full and it fills up the card, whereas here the background is secondary. It's not near as an integral part of the card as it is here. So that's an interesting difference and similarity between those cards. Next we have another three-way tie, and this is for 6 points, and this is for the Joie de Vivre, the Tarot of the Magical Forest, and the Shadowscapes Tarot. So these are those cards here. We'll start with Shadowscapes because it's in front. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful card, as always. Stephanie Fouimun-Law did such an awesome job with the artwork on these cards. Now this is cool because we have a big beastie beast, and then we still have the meeker feline, you know, cat down here. We got big cat, we got small cat. So that's you know, that's a cool energy that we have going on in that card. Another thing I really like about this is she is calm and collected and almost in a dreamy state, and this beast, he's still beastie. You know, he actually reminds me of
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. She reminds me of Beauty and the Beast, or he does. You know, he's got the kind of the horns on his head. And it's like he's, you know, he is still ferocious, you know, but she balances him out by having that soft serenity to her. However, he's not so ferocious that he can't hold a bubble, and he's surrounded by little, you know, Siamese cats that are gentle. And so it shows that he does, you know, he is gentle and he is controlled and he is subdued, but all she has to do is say sick 'em, and you know that thing is going to go into beast mode. Straight up. Beast mode. Next is a very different representation, yet similar. And it's funny because this deck usually is really, really close to the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but in this one it is a little different. Now, you know what I just noticed? What color are both of the non-beast figures in here? White. They're both wearing white. We have a woman in a white dress, and we have a little white sheep. I think that's pretty cool. This one is a little bit of a meeker version, though, in my opinion. It's a very soft version of strength. It is still a beautiful version of strength. We definitely see that connection between the, we'll call a quote-unquote human and inner beast. We still have the infinity sign. It's hard to see in the video, but it's there. The background matches.
But
if you look at the background in Rider-Waite-Smith, it's very similar. It's still yellow. It's still, you know, smaller. It's not as big, but we do have the mountain in the background, the grass in the foreground, giving us the Empress energy, right? What else?
The sheep is down. I mean, more like the lion is at the level of the sheep.
Right, yes. We definitely we see that. Even though the sheep is kind of up on a little pedestal, it's not over the lion. It's another one of those where they are equals. They're on equal ground.
Because that lion could have gobbled that sheep right away, but instead it's snuggling on that little sheep's face.
It's snuggling it like a little pussy cat. So sweet. So that's a sweet version. This is Rue's deck. So I really highly recommend this deck for kids. It's so cool. And then, of course, we have the Joie de Vivre. So that's also done by Paulina Cassie. So you can see she threw those wings back onto her lion again because she likes them there. And again, what do we see here? What's going on with the placement of the people in the card?
They are on the same level.
They're on the same level.
But it's still by Paulina, you know?
Yeah.
But there's no infinity sign, there's no belt. I just wonder why she didn't put it on both of them.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting. That's a good observation. She did not go as... This isn't as weighty of a deck. The Paulina Tarot, she does have a lot of very weighty aspects to it. With Joie de Vivre, she kind of strayed, and I think she kind of let herself be a little bit more creative with how she represented it. A little more whimsical. But she still gets the point across. You know, I think one thing is they're both on the same little branch. They're sharing a branch on the tree. And, you know, the tree also is kind of a symbol of life. And it's got stars on it. Of course, we know that stars represent the Empress in a lot of cards. So we definitely have the Empress energy there. But yeah, we looked and looked and looked. We never did really find an infinity sign here. Oh, I lied. We found it.
Yes,
it's right there. It's right there on her wing. Looky there. It's really going to be hard to see. You got to look real close. You see it? You see it? You see it?
I just noticed this. On the lion's tail, it's like a heart shape at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's showing that they have that love and connection between each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's right. And that moon right there.
Mm-hmm.
With the little Empress. She's got a moon on. She got a moon on her booty.
Moon on moon.
She's got a moon on her moon. 5.5 Vampire. They got a half a point on this one for the lion, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Here is the Tarot of Vampires by Ian Daniels. And this is the first one that I believe the first one that didn't have a lion in it. I only gave a half a point for the lion, and the reason is because obviously this is a panther. Why did you give her credit at all? Well, because if you look really, really closely, if I can show you, well, you're not going to be able to see. Okay, if you have this deck, go check it out. But right here, come on, light, on the cup, and it's really almost impossible to see on this video. On the cup is the symbol for Leo, the zodiac symbol for Leo, the little swirly majigger. I'll show you a better example later. You know, in this one, I really like the fact that, you know, this panther reminds me of the Shadowscapes lion in that it could go beast mode as soon as she lets go of that chain, man. I mean, she's got it on a chain. You know, she has it under control. And like in the Shadowscapes tarot, the woman is almost in a dreamy state. It's like she's just so relaxed and she's got her head back and she's, you know, it's like she's free as a bird and feeling so comfortable and secure. But it's because she's got this beast on a chain.
But she's so vulnerable because she wears a little, like, bra and skirt. She's so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And she's on top of this beast and she's all cool with it. She doesn't really care.
Yeah, she doesn't need to have protective armor on. She's got a gigantic cat on the end of a string. Or a chain, whatever. We also see signs of fertility with the roses at the bottom, as well as passion. And that's going to come into the conversation more because some of these cards have more red in them. But we see this card is the one where I really started noticing red, which is the color of passion. And it is said in Rachel Pollack's book, one of the quotes that kind of stuck out with me is that the basis of the strength card is passion overcome by reason.
And her hair is kind of glowing, shows that passion still.
Right, her hair is red. We see kind of a red fog in the background. The roses are red. You know, this is definitely a card that shows that passionate energy. And, you know, a good job of doing it as well. But yeah, I love the panther. I love the ferocity of this panther. I like seeing a lion that still kind of has his wolf. You know what I'm saying? That's a good representation there. Next, loving the next group. 5. These had 5 points. We have the Bohemian Gothic, the Gilded Tarot, and Marseille Tarot also got a score of 5, but we've already covered that one. So you have the Gilded Tarot and the Bohemian Gothic Tarot. This one really reminds me of the Chronicles of Narnia. mixed with Dracula. It's like Narnia meets Dracula. I love this splash of red. Again, like I just said a second ago, we've got that passion. But, this lion, this is a true, this lion is not a soft, hidden, magical forest lion. This is a beast. His eyes are glowing. He has a very serious look. And it, again, kind of like in the Shadowscapes and like in the vampire, the cat is on guard.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one, that's really watching out. And,
she seems,
looking for a fight.
She seems like she's in a daydream state. She's just kind of laying there on top of him.
She's kind of laying there, but not completely. She looks at ease, but if you really look closely at the card, and it's hard to tell in this video, she's looking out too. The lion is like looking out in the distance. The lion is kind of looking out this way, and the girl is looking right at the person looking at the card. She's looking right at you. So that's kind of creepy. I'm not sure, what the significance is, other than the lion is looking at the broad spectrum and the woman is focused, which is kind of opposite of what we've seen on other things. She's got the awesome Dracula wings, which is very Bohemian Gothic. But it's a beautiful card. It really is. I know it's kind of dark and hard to see, but in person, it's a gorgeous card. Gilded Tarot. Now here we see the chain. We don't have a flower thing around it, kind of like with the Vampire Tarot. We see a chain around its neck. Pardon me. They're both looking in the same direction. You have any thoughts on this card?
Yes, she's not gripping the chain like she's trying to grip a knife. She's barely hanging on. So this lion could take off anytime he wants to, but he's not. He's staying right by her side on guard and not leaving.
That's right. Good observation. And again, of course, it is number 8. These are the next runners up. This is Cyril Marchetti's Tarot of Dreams. And again, kind of like we saw in the Gilded Tarot, we have that chain around its neck. However, this time she's not holding on to it. It's more of like symbolically floating around its head. I like this card. Obviously, it's not a lion. It's a tiger. The tiger the tiger has more of the passion, though, here than the woman.
The woman looks like she's a high priestess, not really an empress.
Yes, that's true. Good point. She looks like more of a high priestess type of a figure, more so than an empress figure. She's got the symbols on her head. She's got a very serious look to her. That mystery that kind of comes with the high priestess. And if you look at her earrings, she's kind of got the moon and the stars. It's really high priestessy, more than empress meets magician, which I guess is kind of like high priestess, but it's not the same. But it's a good card. It's a good strength card. It's very pretty. Good artwork. And then this is one of my favorites. I'm really starting to, I know I've said this already, but I do really like this Hidden Realm Tarot of the Hidden Realm. This one is just, to me, it's just beautiful. It's so peaceful. There's such a peace about this card.
Yeah.
And of course, we've gone from feline to canine here. Instead of a cat of some sort, we have gone to a dog. Or not a dog, but a wolf. Wolves are social creatures. They travel in packs. And, here, there's very obviously some sort of a bond between them because they are sitting very close to each other. I do get an empress feel off of her, especially because we have these kind of vines back here. Woo! Wrong side of the card. Especially because we have these vines back here in the background. But again, the wolf is vigilant. He's looking ahead like we see some of the lions doing. And she is looking at the wolf, or she's looking down. But she's not necessarily, she doesn't have that on guard kind of feeling about her that the wolf has. Absolutely gorgeous. Next is both our favorites. One of our favorite cards and one of our least favorite cards actually got the same score. We love the Alchemy deck, the 1977 England Alchemy deck. Love it. And then we have the Vertigo Tarot.
Ugh.
Don't love it. So let's talk about the one. Let's do good news or bad news first. Good news.
Okay. I like it because it shows that
Here, I'll hold them.
yeah, it's like she was this beast, But she's breaking out of this beast mode, and she's coming to this beautiful woman, that empress figure, and she's not this growly beast dragon thing. And she's coming out of it. She's showing her inner beauty.
What's the big word for that you learn in school?
I don't even know.
What do butterflies do?
Metamorphosis.
There you go. She's come out, instead of a beautiful butterfly, we have a gorgeous, fit, naked girl with some awesome tattoos. Yay! But, you know, and again, you know, her voluptuousness and her youth make me, you know, I can see the Empress there. But I think this is a gorgeous representation. When I first saw it, same with Bellaluna. When we first saw this card, our initial reaction was, what? What the kind of, what?
Like, what card?
What the deuce? You know, I may have dogged it in my review. I can't remember. I know I said something ugly about the Chariot card because I didn't get that one at first either. And when she first saw it, she had it on her list for, like, not favorites. And I explained the card to her a little bit more, and I was like, well, if you look at it this way, and now she's like, oh, I really like that card. So there's the 1977 Alchemy England. England Alchemy. I don't really even know how you're supposed to say it. Vertigo. Man. This one, I get it. I mean, I see it. It is definitely a strength card. You know, what's interesting, it has the justice aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, the justice card is what's going on with her eyes in the justice card?
She has a blindfold on.
Yeah, she has a blindfold on. So I think it's kind of cool that, you know, it just so happens that this has a blindfold on. You know, and it happens to be a card that has been switched out with an 11.
She has a Leo sign, though.
She does have the Leo sign. If you look down here at the bottom, there is a Leo sign. And, you know, this looks like some kind of a sea creature. Definitely some kind of a monster. And then we have the female figure here. And there are some flowers here at the top, which, again, kind of convey that Empress energy. It has the right elements. I mean, it really does. It's just not my favorite version. This Vertigo Tarot is very odd. I'm going to tell you. It's very odd. But, I mean, it's cool. Some of the cards are really kind of cool. It's just really weird. All right. Then we're moving on to the Alchemy. I mean, not... Then we're moving on to Archeon and Steampunk Gods of the Machine. They also had the same score, but they are very different looking cards. We got a man here. I have a hard time complaining a lot about this particular man.
It looks like he's trying to
show off his muscles.
Trying to beat it, like in the first card.
Yeah, it gives that hint of, and you see a sword here nearby, right there. It does give that conquering type of strength energy. You know, like with a lot of Archeon, we have the moon in the background. But we have this man here that's just basically a buff man. And then we have this, you know, this beautiful lion here. You know, yeah, it does represent strength in the sense of the word strength. But as far as mastering the beast within, not, I mean, it does, and you can see it that way. It's just not how I prefer it. I mean, I'm being honest with you folks. It's just not my favorite way of representing it. However, I'm just not going to speak ill of this card because it's got its own beauty. Then we have the Steampunk Gods of the Machine.
And she has the red tool belt, which is like the passion.
Yes, we have the red.
And since it's a machine, she controls it. It's not something that will go wild, and she controls every move unless you built it to go wild. But, you know.
Right. Right. She is controlling. That is her beast. That is her golem that she must, you know, manage. And they call it here in this deck, it's called the engineer. You know, so it's the person that controls the machine. And since the theme of this deck is Steampunk Gods of the Machine, it's very appropriate for this deck. And I like this card. I like this version of strength. It's very different. It's a very unique way of representing it, and I think it works. It's not so off the wall that you got to reach for it. It's there. It's there. I got it. It's cool. I get it. Next, we have these two. These also had the same score, which I think is kind of cool because they're really kind of similar to each other, except that this dude's actually got some animals, and once again, that hobbit They love leaving stuff out and making it, cryptic. We'll get there. I'm going to talk about this guy first. This is from the Wildwood Tarot, and we see here he is called the Woodward. And he has definitely mastered the beast because he's wearing one.
But the beast that's by his side, he is smiling, he is happy, and they're looking the same way, but he is the happy creature. He's not
That's right.
sad to be
They're
there.
looking in the same direction. Shows that connection. They are next to each other. And, at first I was thinking, now, why is this idiot cat hanging out with this guy that obviously hunts cats? And then I thought, wait a minute. What if it is a previous companion? And he is showing an homage to him by continuing to carry him on his journeys as part of his, part of his uniform, part of his life, part of his protective gear. And, maybe this is this cat's elder. That's why he's cool with it. It's like, yeah, I know he's wearing, my mom's head, but she was a great cat, and I'm glad she's still around. I don't know. No, but seriously, we also have that magician aspect to it, because we do have the staff. And so even though we don't have an infinity sign, that is carried forward. We have kind of a, shaman kind of feel to it. And, in the background, we have a tree, we have a bird. I don't know that I would necessarily correlate that with the Empress as much, but it does kind of, you could pull, a sense of nature out of it. I don't know. He's also kind of holding a chalice, which also gives me a feel of sort of an emperor, type feel to it. So it's a little bit more male energy than I really would be used to in a strength card. However, because of the way that they have done the animals and the animal hide and the way that I understand it for myself, it works, and I don't really mind so much that there's not a feminine energy in this particular card. And I think it's because he's not dominating the cat.
Like the inner strength still.
Yeah, he's this particular fella has a connection with the animals, and that is why, that animal is there by his side. It's not because he's mastered it as far as physically, although he could, because we do see that he is obviously a hunter. He is capable, but he's not doing that. He's not doing it for the sake of doing it. So I appreciate that. Now the Hobbit card, where's our lion, Bellaluna?
The Leo sign.
The Leo sign, and that's all we're going to get, because there's no animal in this card, not at all.
But if you've ever seen The Hobbit, there are plenty of animals to put in that card.
Yeah.
Giant spiders, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, they had options. I don't know why, they just, whatever, it's fine. This is obviously Gandalf, and he is in, some sort of a deep thought, meditative state. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know all of the story exactly well enough, and I didn't read the book. I am sure that this is a fair representation of some sort. I struggle with a lot of these Hobbit cards, though. Yeah, the Leo is represented there, but y'all could have put something in there.
Yeah.
Could have put something. Now, these last two they tied for last place, and I was really shocked that I only gave 1 point, but when I started going back to the symbolism and what I looked for, the only thing that I got Deviant Moon and Inner Realms, because Inner Realms is always last place, but Deviant Moon got only 1 point on the weight traits, and it's because it is fighting a beast, but it's not a lion. There's no female. It's not number 8. This card is actually number 11. Thank you, Mr. Valenza, for being true to the tarot system. I appreciate it. And by the way, y'all, this time next week, I will have my borderless deck, and I will be switching to using those because Rory Rance already got hers, and I haven't gotten mine. I live here in Texas, and I guess whatever state she's in, she got hers first. So I'm totally jealous about that. I'm not happy about that, Rory. But according to her, they are the shiz. Can't wait to get them. So next week, you'll see my borderless card.
But it's wrapping around its foot. You can tell that they have that connection.
They do have that connection. I almost feel like I should have given a half a point for that, even though they didn't have the flower thing, because there is a physical representation of a connection there. And I missed that. I missed it when I was scoring it. So technically, this card gives a 1.5. We'll say 1.5. It does have that conquering domination. Not, not necessarily the... I don't get that this domination is coming from the fact that he's got his little tail wrapped around his foot. I get the fact that he is muscling that thing's mouth open, which is, you know, kind of what we saw in some of our other cards, is that wrestling the mouth open. What is up with that? You know, he is strong-arming this creature. But I love Patrick Valenza's work. I love this card, even though it only scored a 1.5. Mama don't care. What did you think about this one?
I thought it was an okay card.
Because this is your deck.
I know. I mean, the tongue is red for passion, I guess.
Yeah, you do have the red. The red is there, so, you know, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean... Yeah.
I mean, he's glowing a little, so it's showing that he can be bright. It's showing that he might also be a beast.
Well, and no, their eyes match. Their eyes are similar. They have, like, the same eyeball. So there's another little connection there between them. They have Twinkie eyeballs. And then last, I know, always with this one.
It shows nothing. Well, it has the red at the bottom for passion.
It does have a fiery quality to it. The words on this are courage, balance, patience, strength, and compassion.
Without the words, I would never understood.
The only point this got was for being number 8. That's out. Really not a lot of symbolism, you know, with these Inner Realm cards. If it weren't for the words, I don't know that I am quite on the same page with the images to where I would get it without the words. So, I mean, yeah. So there's that. I mean, you know, you do have a sense of within, though. You know, there is that fire within. But
it looks kind of like an inner strength, though. The picture looks kind of like inner strength.
Yeah, it is inner strength. You see that fire burning bright here in the center. Wherever that center is, right here. And then, you know, it radiates out. And it does have a sense of containment, you know, to a degree. So, I mean, I can make that work. But I have a lot of decks that are much clearer, so I'll probably use those. That's the strength card, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I know Bellaluna and I enjoyed it. We have fun with this card. And I'm sure you'll be seeing her again before this is all over with, because she's my tarot kid. She loves this stuff. Anyway, was there anything else you wanted to share?
No.
Nope. We're going to let you go. I'm going to go make some dinner. You'll have a great night.
Bye.
Bye. Blessed be.